All right, it's time for the first ever event. Ships. We're gonna talk about the ships. Now, before we do that, I'm gonna make some things crystal clear for you guys. All right, before anyone takes a knife, pitchfork, or whatever, and comes over to my house and says, "No, Kimo, your opinions are wrong" or whatever. I'll split into categories for you guys. All right, I'm gonna be really truthful here. I want to be as truthful and honest about my opinions as possible. So whether you want to listen to them or not, I don't care. All right? There's people out there that genuinely wants to hear what I have to say about these ships. And frankly, up until now, it's been 3.5 years or close to 3.5 years, and I never made a really hard criticism about event ships for a full batch. I may have talked about maybe Shimakaze or New Jersey or PR ships, but never a full banner. Alright, so we're going to do that right now. Let's start this off with the SSR ships going from left to right on the event page. Now I have both the wiki and the game loaded up right here, so I'll go back and forth if I need to, discussing each ship. So let's talk about Akane Shinjo here. Now Akane Shinjo is a battleship, right? Stats and whatnot, looking solid for a battleship, right? I won't talk too much in detail about this ship in particular because it's going to be a long video. So I'll do a little nitpicky, just a little summary about how the ship performs. So stats and life value, whatever. Just a regular battleship, right? Nothing crazy, just a regular old battleship. Now, we're going down here. We have a barrage, right? She has two barrages. One is a little pulsing nuke or whatever, and the other one's a plain barrage or whatever. Just a regular battleship, right? Just a same old battleship, whatnot. It's really basic. And then you have this third skill right here. Increase firepower by 8%. So, small buff, take it. It's free damage. Stats. Once per battle, basically heals. So it's like a zombie ship that has some little extra incentives. Up to 18% firepower. Heals and has barrage. Just a regular old battleship. Now, the barrage right here is pretty solid. It's a pretty good nuke and whatnot. Not sure how it fires off. I think it's volley, and then where it lands, it shoots out. I'm not sure about that because I only have the sample right here. Well, I have the little clips and whatnot I can use off that. But basically, though, it's just a regular old battleship. Nothing crazy about that. Do I like this ship, though? It's good for most of you guys. A lot of you guys are pretty much new players. A lot of people nowadays that watch my videos are new players. So is it good for you? Yes. Use it. Because it's a pretty solid battleship for whatever it is. Is a pretty solid one. Now we're going here. Let's go to Chise Asukagawa. Now she's one of the better ships in this banner right here. Basically a watered down Aquila. All right, Aquila is the preload carrier or one of the two preload carriers before this collab hit. Starts off with one airstrike ready, and the second one forward gets additional special airstrike. And damage is based on level, right? So extra damage after the second airstrike and going forward. First one, you get one right off the bat, and then you have to reload one now, right? So in terms of carrier, 146 reload. This is a very, very high reload for a carrier. Probably one of the highest in the game for a carrier in general that isn't a light carrier. So that's really, really high. And then the second one right here. First and third airstrike, you get a bombing thingy with a whatchamacallit. So basically, it spawns a shield, it protects your vanguard and whatnot, and reduces their damage taken, and so forth. So you have support, and you have additional damage. You don't have any self buffs like additional damage increase or aviation buffs. So nothing boosting her damage power right here. She has 403 aviation, just on the lower side of carriers, but she offers some good utility. She has a preload. She has a special barrage right here and so forth. Not a bad ship. A rundown or a watered down Aquila, but definitely by no means a bad ship at all. Still very, very good. Probably one of the best ones from this banner. Now, third one here, Rikka here. Now, this is going to be probably a controversial one. If I had one controversial ship about this video, it's probably going to be this one right here. Rikka is very good for basically everything except single target bossing. Basically anything in this game, from event farming, Operation Siren clearing, campaign clearing, World 14 clearing. She's basically good everywhere in this game. Now, I say this. She has multiple barrages all over. She has like sword waves, laser beams, yellow ones, purple ones, everything. There's just so much going for her kit. It's disgusting. And there's multiple ways to build her kit as well too. A very, very universal ship, a very powerful universal ship. Just so good at wave clearing altogether. Just high AoE splash damage. It's absurd. Now, aside from that though, you wouldn't want to use her in bossing that much. When it comes to like the single target bossing, like meta 15s or R6 loggers and Operation Siren, there's only one target there. You're not gonna get that much value. And most of the time, those setups right there are either catered towards torpedo bombing or just setting up your backline to do as much damage as possible. And Rikka here doesn't do that. Rikka here is a self-steroid solo DPS ship for light cruisers. So you want to use her in scenarios where there's just clusters of mobs all together, which is basically everything in this game except like 0.01% of the content in the game. So you probably want to use her pretty much everywhere, meaning she's a good ship if you're using her pretty much everywhere. My take on this is that wherever you use Perseus, you want to use Rikka, because Rikka has really good clearing, just like Perseus with the heals and whatnot. And you want to use Perseus most of the time for like mob clearing and whatnot, for trash clearing. So you want to use Rikka there too. She also has mini auxiliary slots. You can put up to 5 there for memes if you want to. Which means if you're going to like World 14 or whatever, you can slot in submarine stuff like you can slot in like Warhogs or whatever. I forgot to use this. I forgot to use this tab. My other game right here. Use the Warhogs or whatever. I use just the standard stuff because I was using for like event farming, whatever. But you can use this to like Warhogs or whatever for more World 14 clearing. There's many ways to gear her. It depends on how you want to do it and the certain content you're doing. But that's basically that, right? Show you guys what I was doing on my Akane, my bad. Regular BB setup, and as for the Chise build, just a regular carrier setup. Nothing crazy about that. Now we're going into the 4th ship, Yume. Now Yume here, a lot of people don't like her, but I think she has potential to be not super OP, but pretty good. The reason why I say this is because this skill right here. Now, obviously, she has a lot of barrages and whatnot, like laser beams and all that jazz. But this skill right here. Now, ignore the 90 seconds of evasion because this is a meme right here. 90 seconds after the battle starts, most fights, especially boss fights, where you want to use her, end by then. This skill right here. Every 18 seconds fires a level 1 through 10 beam using the penetrator gun, which inflicts armor break to enemies. Damage is based on skills level. So this right here is really unique because some people think, wow, armor break, that's whatever, right? Well, armor break is pretty cool, right? Additional damage to your firepower ships and whatnot. But 18 seconds, that's a weird time. Why would I care about 18 seconds? Well, here's the thing. 18 seconds means you're almost in range of 457 users. So anyone that uses 457s is very close to being in lined up perfectly with Yume. Now, if you guys have E-Girl, whatever, her armor break also applies if she's a certain distance, but when you're on auto battle, this is RNG. Depending on when the armor break hits, it's RNG because she could be far away, she could be near the enemy. It depends on how the AI moves for E-Girl's armor break. But for Yume, it's every 18 seconds. So every 18 seconds, most of the time, she's lined up perfectly with your vanguards, or not vanguards, your backline, and how they want to shoot. So if I go all the way over here, I mean, I have a clip for you guys. I'll show you guys a clip. But basically, it's almost perfect. The only thing that I don't like is that it's like a second too early. If it's like 1 or 2 seconds later, or no, if it was like 1 or 2 seconds earlier, it would be perfect with this setup. But 18 seconds is just a weird time. Now, I think it works pretty good with the champagne gun or whatever. That heavy cruise, battleship gun is pretty good with this. Maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't tested it, but this is just almost perfect because armor break lasts for 6 seconds. It's just almost perfect right here, almost perfect. Unfortunately, though, it's like a second. It's a second late how I want it to be. It was like 17 seconds, it'll be pretty good. But this right here though, it's not working for me. But maybe I want to believe somewhere in the future they could make this work. I don't know how, but maybe when they add that reload mechanic or whatever, where we can change how we want to adjust our permanent reload, it could help out with this lining up every 18 seconds. But right now though, it works, but it's just you're not gonna get the 100% maximum benefits because the beam or whatever is like a second too early. And even then, if you're on auto battle, Yume has to hit the target with this beam to apply the armor break. If she's like above the enemy and she moves down, you probably lost a second right there. The beam lasts for 4 seconds, so it's hard to work with on auto battle. But if it does work, it's pretty solid. But again, it's timer based. 18 seconds is pretty good. My only issue is that it's like a second too early. If it was like a second or a second too late, my bad. A second too late. So if it's like a second earlier, it'll be really good. Now, as for the other ships, I don't like talking about purple ships. You can use these guys however you want to. Me personally, though, most elite ships in this game are like, yeah, we're not gonna talk about it. But again, this game for the most part, if you guys want to use Has, you guys want to use Mujina, you guys want to use Namiko for whatever reason, go for it. Just toss them in. Most of these ships, elite ships nowadays, are supposed to be used for farming, or at least some of them back in the day, like Boys, Penelope, ships like those are meant for cheap farming. But because that's basically dead now, because they want you to use 6 ships when it comes to oil cap content, you just toss them in. They'll have no trouble surviving because you are using 6 ships rather than by themselves. So just toss them in if you want to use them. If you like Has, you like Mujina, you like Namiko, they're solid. They all have their own damage barrages and whatnot and so forth. RNG procs, lasers and whatnot. I don't expect crazy damage output from these girls. It's just whether you want to use them or not. If you're into that kind of stuff, go for it. I personally am not going to level these ships unless I really have to, whether I'm like out of ships to level or not, because they don't give permanent stats right here, unlike other ships, because they're collapse ships. So if you want to use them, go for it. I'm personally whatever about purple ships when it comes to collabs in particular. But for these ships right here, I'll generalize these in specific categories with general content, mob content. Well, I guess general mob content could be the same thing, and then like boss content or end game content. Actually, no, we'll do like this. We'll do mob, and then we'll do bossing, and then we'll do end game content. All right, let's do that way. So mob content, Akane, solid. She definitely has the barrages and stuff to cover it. She also has the HP regen for zombies. If she's low on HP, she can heal off that and gets the self buff as well, 10% more added on to her 8%. So it's good there. Bossing, you can use her. She doesn't have that much steroids, but she does have up to 18% if she does proc it. Otherwise, 8%. Could use her there. Now for endgame though, endgame. I mean, you could make it work, like World 14 maybe, you could make it work. Probably okay, World 14. Now, when it comes to, like, Meta 15s or R6 loggers or whatever, probably not. There are better options out there when it comes to endgame bossing fleets because those are really tight on slots. But for general usage, though, like Mob and bossing, for most of you guys that are new to the game, solid ship. Very solid ship. And a PvP though, meh, whatever. Now Chise Asukagawa, mob setup, good, very very good. Especially if you don't have Aquila or Perseus, very good. Bossing, no, not a fan of her using for bossing. Preload ships for the most part aren't super good at bossing, so I'm not a fan of that. As for endgame, if you guys are willing to push World 14 for whatever reason, you guys don't have Aquila or something, definitely can substitute Chise for Aquila for Chise. That works. And in terms of like Meta 15s and R6 loggers or whatever, or guild raid bosses, probably not. I won't use those for there because there's better options. So there's that. Rikka Takarada, general content, amazing. Bossing, not that great. But I mean, it's not that she's not great. There's better options, but you can use her if you want to. End game content, World 14, very good. She can slot in those warhogs or what is it called? Hedgehogs? Yeah, hedgehogs. And then like World 14 just blows out of the water. Operation Simon, Stronghold stuff clear too. Very, very good. In terms of meta 15s and bossing, whatever, no, there's better options. But for most content, 99% of it is just clearing trash mobs. She's very, very good at that. One of the best, if not the best, light cruiser right now in the game that excels in mob clearing. Very, very, very good. Now for Yume Minami for mob clearing, I guess she has decent, okay mob clearing. There's obviously better choices out there, but definitely not a bad one. For bossing though, it can work. I want to say it can work. You're gonna have to play around with her kit a bit, but it can work. If you're using like a slower gun, like a 20 seconds BB gun or whatever, definitely can make her work with the armor break and whatnot. As for endgame, meta 15s and R6, I'm still playing around with it. I'm still testing it out. I really do believe in her kit with the something beam and hoping that it can somehow line up perfectly with battleship setups for the armor break and whatnot. But as of right now, it's like a second late. You do get like a decent amount of the shells flying in during the armor break, so it's not terrible. But right now, it's like kind of whatever. As a new player, for most of you guys, I would say you can work on her. She's not terrible endgame, but you don't have to have a high pry on her. But she is solid though. She has 3 barrages. Definitely is a solid ship. And as for Has, Mujina, Namiko, or whatever, purple ships, you guys, if you want to use them, go for it. I don't care. I don't really care about purple ships that much. If you like them for like skins or whatever, because they do have some good skins, it's up to you guys. All right. So the overall score, before I'm gonna get yelled at, because I am gonna get yelled at, I'm gonna say the ones you really, really want from this banner is gonna be Chise Asukagawa, Rikka Takarada, until someone or myself figures out a way to get the most out of Yume Minami. You don't have she could be a top priority as well too, but as of right now, it's kind of whatever. Akane Shinjo, a really good battleship, but nothing like crazy, just like a regular old battleship with a barrage and self buffs and whatnot. And as for the purple ships, it's kind of whatever. It's up to you guys if you want to use them or not. I'm not a big fan of them, but if you guys want to use them, go for it. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Enjoy screaming at me. I don't care. And questions or whatever, go ahead and comment or whatever. See you guys next video.